But we still have 2 more speakers we need to get to, which are the 6.5s and the kick panel. Let's join Fernando as he removes those.
To remove the speakers that they are on the kick panel, we have to remove the whole running board. For that, we're going to use our plastic panel tool. It has 7 metal clips. Just be careful. Right in the corner we have the footrest that we have to remove. 2 10mm inside. So we're gonna grab our pry tool, the metal one, the cover. And as you see, the whole kick comes out. The grill, it's only 2 clips. Just put it back so you don't lose them. And as we talked about before, make sure you put the rest of the parts and the toes so you don't lose them. Now we can remove the speaker. It has 3 7mm. This is the speaker plug.
For the kicks, we'll be using the PNW 65CS2. This is the 6.5-inch 2-way component system. Comes in that cool box. And as we know from the previous speakers, all the cool information is located here on the side panel. Power handling is 100 watts. Impedance is 3 ohm, just like the 4-inch. Recommended pairing, they give you some amplifiers. Beverage of choice. Mounting depths for both the mid-range and the tweeter. And what comes in the box, and a QR code. Flipping it over, instruction manuals, as well as the cutout sheet. See if there's anything unique in the instruction manual. The information on the PNW1, mounting, how to use it, bracketry, frequency response, all the cool things that you would hope to find in an instruction manual. The same is true for the mid-bass and the pair. Some sample installations, grills, and it comes with some really nice heat shrink, which I'll explain the reasoning for that in a minute. We have all the mounting hardware, different tweeter brackets and screws. The next layer is all of the passive crossovers. What's unique about these is we have a crossover for both the mid-range and the tweeter. You can mount them like this, you could mount them in separate locations, or that heat shrink is designed so you could take them out of this metal case and put this heat shrink around it, and that way you don't have this big box where you have to find some place to put it. Makes installation a lot easier because you have multiple options as far as how you want to do this. The tweeters themselves are these guys right here. We won't be using any of this. We just need these guys down here. Let's get them out and we'll take a closer look at them. So just like the 4-inch, we have this beautiful blue painted basket with the foam gasket material on the back, big magnet rubber booty around it. Flipping it over to the front, a dual accordion style surround, butyl rubber, same treated paper cone. And then where the tweeter is on the 4-inch, we have this clear dome right here, and through it we could see the audio control logo. That's a really neat little touch. Most people never see that, but I think that looks really cool. And no, there's no way to light it up, so don't ask. It's a solid magnet here on the back, so it doesn't have a vented pole piece for an LED or something to go through it. It does say audio control on it, and it is a fairly robust feeling speaker. Let's compare that to this guy here, which is the factory. Very similar to the dash speaker as far as the materials made out of. We have a plastic style cone. It does have rubber surround, foam, plastic basket. Very small magnet on the back, which is to make sense being powered off the factory radio. It doesn't have a lot of power to get this thing to get up and dance. These would probably not work too well off of the factory radio because it has a much bigger motor structure than this guy here. As far as depth goes, when looking at the two of them, this guy here is, when compared, a little deeper. It's about a 1/2 inch, maybe 5/8 of a difference between the two. The thing we have to keep in mind is this guy moves, this guy really doesn't move much, plus it sits inside of the grill. This is going to be a little bit bigger driver. What we're more concerned with is making sure this doesn't cause the grill in front of it to rattle, and also there's enough depth to get it into the car. To do that, we will be making our own brackets off of this guy here. There are a couple different ways you can do that. If you were unfortunate enough to buy the pack or Metro pieces and you've already got them, use that to make a template. It's a little bit easier to work with than something like this. Now, if you haven't bought them, the easiest thing to do then is to mount it like this on top of some form of a substrate and have a really tall spiral cut bit that rides along this area here. Keep in mind with your material and whatnot, you're probably gonna need a pretty tall spiral bit to do that, or something that has a lot of ball bearings here on the top. This is the Mobile Solutions bit we use. It has 4 bearings on the top, which makes it really easy to ride along various edges of speakers or other things. You can pick this up at Mobile Solutions-USA. Let's head over to the router and I'll show you what I mean. This is a piece of 1/2 inch blown PVC, sometimes called Centra, sometimes called Paleolite. And the process would be to take this speaker, set it on top of here, either glue and tape or some long screws is usually the easiest. Attach this down, adjust the height of your router till it gets to the top here, turn it on, router this thing out, and that'll give us this shape in this plastic. From there, Mobile Solutions offers a bunch of circle guides that will allow us to stick on top of it, and what you'll end up with is not this is for a Toyota, but to just give you a general idea, you would end up with something like this that you could then take over to the car, screw into place, and mount the speaker in. We are going to do it a little bit differently. We've already scanned in our piece into the computer using the same method that we used with the 4-inch, putting this on a flatbed, and we ended up with one of these. We're going to attach this onto here and use this for our template. We are going to do a couple different things with ours, which has a little bit more to it than just a simple bracket. To do that, we need some template tape. I like to cut off my excess template tape. I don't want that to get all gummed up inside of my ball bearings. For what I have planned, I'm going to need 4 of these cutouts. Normally I would cut this into smaller squares. I want to optimize and reduce the amount of waste I have, and I need 4 of them, so I know I could fit 4 into here. Adjust my height. A couple things I'm going to need that I'm going to go grab now, which is a drill bit to drill these 4 holes, because I want to drill those before I pop this off. Normally I would pre-drill these too, but I'm not going to for this. I'm going to get a really small, like a 16th inch, and just make pilot holes, because I need them, but I don't want them all the way drilled out. And then the last drill bit I need is one to drill a hole through here so I can remove the center. Here is the first of the 3 that I need. So while I was routering these out, I came up with a variation on what I wanted to do. We have these, which are the back piece, and then I wanted a front piece to go over this. So I went back to the laser and I changed up this design a little bit, and I came up with this. It has these notched in corners, and the hole here in the center is a little bigger, which gave us this guy right here. And the idea is that this is going to sit over the top of it like this and encapsulate the speaker inside of it. That way it will bring it out more, and then there'll be a guard over the front of it, so when we put that kick panel back in, we have plenty of room for the speaker to travel, and we've kind of created a solid speaker slash fast ring all in one, which will make this a much more rigid mount, seeing how that speaker is so big. And to do that, we need to go down the table some, because we have to dig a groove into the back side of this. So this is our big Mobile Solutions routing bit here, calipers, and I need to measure from this part here out to the outside ring, because my new circle that sits on top of it like this is basically that same size. I want this piece to slide over the top of this and go into place. Measurement on that tells me about 45-ish. With the current ball bearing we have on there, it will work. The next thing I have to do is take my height between the foam and the rubber here, and then I can lock this into place. I can use that to bring my bit up to the right height. Now these things are super scary. Go slow, take your time. Next thing I want to do is add a round over to this edge, just to give it more of a finished look. What I'll do is I'll take some sandpaper to this inside edge. And there we have it, a finished piece. This will go like this. This will sit on top of it like that, and that'll encapsulate in my 6.5. Let's go over to the bench and we'll assemble one of these and see how it looks.